Hello everyone, I'm F. Merlin Rodrigues and I welcome you back to the part 2 of our Unit 4, Elements of Writing. In our part 1, Intro to this class, we learned what is meant by rhetoric. Rhetoric means the art of communication, and there are different rhetorical modes which are listed here in the slide. And in this part, we are going to learn the first rhetorical mode, narration. A narrative is a rhetorical mode suitable for relating a sequence of events or thoughts. So narration is an action or a process of narrating a story. Right from your early childhood, you have been told stories of animal-human relationship from school storybooks and other sources. Mowgli from Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book is an example of human characters in close proximity with the animals. You have also read in newspapers of incidents involving human beings and animals. Although both these type of stories present us with animals and humans, the former is a fictional or made-up story, while the latter is a non-fictional or factual one. However, any kind of writing that brings out a story, fictional or real, can be considered a narrative. So, narration means telling stories. But telling stories can be oral as well as written. When we say the stories orally, sometimes we may leave out the important points or we might fail to identify the characters and all. But that's okay in the oral narration because we use our gestures, expressions, and tone of voice. And moreover, immediately you can get feedback from the audience. But in a written narrative form, when you write a story, maybe a small one paragraph story or a novel which can go to more than 200 or 300 pages, we have to make sure that we stick on to certain elements or certain points. And we have to say the central ideas, characters, plot line, and we have to give adequate description and all. So this is the challenge in narration. So narrative can be both a fictional one and a non-fictional. So here is a list of fictional narration. There are stories, novella. Novella means they are bigger than a story but shorter than a novel. Novel, folklore, and orature. You know what's a folklore? It's a legends or stories passed through words. And non-narration means non-fictional narrations can be autobiography or life writing, biography, news report, newspaper essays, historical accounts, recount of incidents, testimonies. Testimonies means a formal written or spoken statement in court, especially for proof or evidence. So narration can take up either fictional or non-fictional way. Although there are variations in the way narrative style is employed by different writers, we can always find a general characteristics in narrative writing. Especially in a story, you have to follow these steps or characteristics should be found in a narrative writing. First one is plot. Plot gives us the event that constitute the narrative, usually told in a sequential order. And second one is setting. Settings means the location and the time of the events mentioned in the narrative. Then we have the characters. Characters that subjects or people in a narrative. Characters may include a central character who can be called as protagonist and the characters who are set against a central character, that is the enemy or the villain. And we have a conflict, a problem caused by the existence of opposing forces within or outside the character. And we should reach to a resolution. Climax of the story may offer a resolution to the conflict. Then the point of view. The perspective adopted for rendering the story is called the point of view. The primary thing in understanding the point of view is identifying the narrator and the mode of narration, first person, second person, or third person. While narrative as a mode of writing can be of use to your writing assignments in the college as well as in your future workplace. In narrative style, writing is to be carried out in such a way as to hook the reader to your writing. Therefore, the impact of a narrative essay is similar to that of a fictional work. An essay may be written partially or completely in style depending on the purpose of the essay. The following guidelines will help you to make your narrative essay, effective. First one, a narrative essay may deal with the writer's personal experience or any other sequence of events. First person point of view is used when writing about personal experience. You can also bring out the events or incidents objectively using a third person point of view. The next point you have to remember is, like any other essays, a narrative essay revolves around a thesis statement. Thesis statement in a narrative essay can be explicit or implied, and it may be presented in the opening or the concluding paragraphs. The opening paragraph introduces the setting and the protagonist and gives a gist of the narrative, which should hook the reader to continue reading. The inverted pyramid style found in academic writing in general need not necessarily be followed in a narrative essay. The body paragraphs are to be arranged keeping in mind a sense of time. Transition phrases can be used to indicate shifts in the narration. The message of the narrative is to be spelled out clearly in the concluding paragraph. The writer of a narrative needs to sustain the interest of the reader by generating curiosity in the events unfolded. That is, a reader of a narrative should get a feeling that something important is coming up. Dialogues, descriptions, and recounting of actions can be made use of to engage the reader's attention. Conversational expressions and contractions can be used in dialogues. Physical descriptions of places and things are to be presented with the objective of helping readers visualize. Conflicts and problems are to be used to create suspense in the reader and to lead to a climax and resolution of the conflict. So these are the guidelines to write a narrative essay. When we are asked to write a narration or narrative essay or narrative story, you have to keep these two things in mind and start writing. Now you have an example here of Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth. So it's an autobiography, a non-fictional, a factual description of Gandhi's life. We'll just read and understand or analyze the way he has written down. It's from the chapter 2, Childhood. I must have been about 7 when my father left Pobandar for Rajkot to become a member of the Rajasthani court. There, I was put into a primary school, and I can well recollect those days, including the names and other particulars of the teachers who taught me. As at Pobandar, so here, there is hardly anything to note about my studies. I could only have been a mediocre student. From this school, I went to the Sundarban school and thence to the high school, having already reached my 12th year. So you can see there is a logical arrangement, time sequence, and one after another he describes his life events. So such methods can be used while you narrate a autobiographical or your personal writing. So when you are asked to write an essay or or project or assignment in your colleges or in a university, you have to keep these things in mind. According to your topic, according to the need of your style, you can choose narration, either a non-fictional or fictional way, and you can start writing your work or academic writing. So hope you understood this session of narration. Now in the next class, we will move on to the next rhetorical mode, illustration. So see you in the next class. Thank you.